And as they walk in representation of our First Nations people of Little Red River Reserve, our schools, it is this way, this acknowledgement, that let it be known that the Government of Canada, that we are here, we are strong, and that we are willing to work alongside in a good way, in a humble way. We ask not to be acknowledged as a lower people, but as a grassroots people, a people where we can sit together and have that conversation of love and support, acknowledgement, and that we will always do as best as we can for our future generations. Our leaders who carry the bonnet, our counselors who walk alongside as our chiefs, our board of directors, our directors, as well as our supporting team from the government. This is who we are. This is where we come from. We fight every day for our children. We fight for their understanding that we will always be okay, and that our prayers will be such as love, understanding, and support. We thank you all for coming on in. We thank you for bringing your team. This is what it is that we do. We work alongside with each other. And by doing so, we become successful. Our ceremonies guide us, lead us. Keegan, watch me. And it is our way of life, of who we were and where we come from. We are a resilient people. And we thank you all for bear witness to what we have here before you. We thank you all for acknowledging that our hard work, our dedication has been paid off, and that there are many more to come. Hey, oh, hey. At this time, I ask you to remain standing as we have invocation by our school elder, Vicky Joseph. Shh.
Oh, turn it off. Tinegi kitchigisugayan mantu. Kinaskum nananusuma. This special day in notes, kagichigisigaga notes nit nanoche. Kagdo mutagani poyak, all of us that are in here together. Hutoma little red paskoski. Igatoche igipiucho pigiag. We were born and we were brought up and we came to school here, Nisnan. Nisnan. We have our good times and bad times with experiences with our school system. Anotski hapetiguse insis niswapatin idorieta de maguma, the path that we're taking for education for our children, our grandchildren, our Japanak. Nuapatin ase idu hadamuiniguati etiswapata wapatago. How to deal with things in these worldly things, these drugs and alcohol. Iduga wanai good chagirune. Maga with our precious Savior, Lord God Almighty. Yeguputamam sweetutama, msitutawayag. Every day, day mehanista. Tatugisagang de mistamog, uchapanek joasimsak. Kakido the community, aniga agustik. Yuguminanig. Higago is kagi mutichik. The ones that are wheelchairs, the ones that are sick in the hospitals, at home, the elders, the children. And I have the privilege to say thank you to all the community members that have joined us here today. Especially these young children that are here. Praise the Lord for them, Father. They're lent to us, they're not ours. They're lent to us for a short time, and they grow up so fast. They grow up so fast. Your turnaround in 5 years has gone by. That's how it is with our Lord too. Kagidagi go taski got the piditag. He has the healing powers with apago kaskita to mend our broken hearts, our minds and spirit. As go mido hadamuni kapmutyak. But we thank you, Lord Jesus. We praise your name today. Thank you for all the people that have attended this ceremony. Thank you for the drummers. Thank you for the speakers, the ones that are here today. Thank you, Father, and I'll say the Lord's Prayer. And we remember the ones also that are not here with us. And then especially my brother Sam. He would have loved to be here today. He's always into education and through prayer. I know that he's watching over us today in our hearts and minds. Thank you, Father. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Oh, thank you, Elder Vicky Joseph. At this time, we ask you to remain standing to commence our eagle staff and our flags. This song have gone through many, many situations within our world. War, hardships. It has gone through many successes as well. So at this time I ask our beloved singers of Little Red River Reserve to render us that appropriate song as our flag song. Aho, Boisak. For many generations, our people have fought hard not to lose our ceremony life. We have fought hard to bring back what was lost. Our veterans who didn't have to leave our community of Little Red to go and fight overseas. It wasn't within our treaties that they had to, but they did it because they knew what was happening to us. They had committed themselves to sacrifice, knowing that someday, if they had sacrificed, that they were going to be able to bring back what was lost. This song is a war veteran song. This song tells the story of the many losses of our people being killed in the many wars that were fought. This song was made overseas to let the people know what was seen, what was done, and that the prayer to Nutawinang Samanto, God the Creator, was within this song to ask Him to forgiveness, to ask for help. Within our treaties, we ask that our treaties must be honored throughout the entire life of this world that was made between two people in sovereignty. This is why we have our ceremonies, our grand entries. That eagle staff bears the willow, the red willow, that we utilize within our ceremonies. A medicine tree, a praying tree, an abundant tree. That beaver pelt that sits on there represents our own continent of Turtle Island. Those eagle feathers carry our prayers. They carry our livelihood. They carry our last name of all our nations. The eagle staff that is bent on the top is to remind those within Canada and the First Nations people that we should never fight, but to come together in unity within the circle of life. Those prayers from you as a people are carried through that eagle staff for our children and our grandchildren, our Chapanak. So at this time, we thank the veteran, we thank our elders, all who had sacrificed. Let us all rise and dance in unity with what we have here is a victory song that we now have in this very school, that we have brought back what we had lost. That is victory for our families and our children. And the victory of the education that was brought here today before you, this huge success. That is the unity of our people. That is the unity of our governance. That is the unity of our families. So we thank the director, we thank the board members, we thank everyone who has taken part in this in the past and the present. On a historic day at that. This song, this victory songs, represents that we are here, we are strong, we are resilient, and that we will push through, and that we will always have a place for our children and our grandchildren. Keegan. As this flag moves forward, it is completing the circle of life, acknowledging Nutawinan Samanto, acknowledging that our prayers are now brought into the sacred ceremony of this arbor. It is these men and these women who have that much respect as to our protocols and procedures. And we thank you. We honor you, as well as we honor our parents, our grandparents, our Chapanak, and more important, our children. Hey. Let's all have a big hi to today's grand entry. We thank you all. To all that are here, we thank our elders and we thank the drum at that. At this time, we call upon our Eagle Staff carrier, our head man for today, our chief of the school, Mr. Darius Bear. Let's give him a round of applause. Next up, we have the Lac La Ronge flag, Mr. Carson McKenzie. Yeah, go that. The Muncha Lake flag, Eddie McKenzie. Way to go, Eddie. The Canadian flag, Timothy Hunt. Hey, hey. The Saskatchewan flag, Marcel Bird. Oh, wait, Richard Halkett. Sorry about that, brother. He's also one of our board members. Yeah. Hey, you boys, you collect all the flags. Yeah, you collect all the flags. You guys come on this side. Yeah. Boys, come on this side. Boys, come on this side. Yeah, come on this side. Yeah, give him the flag. Yeah, and you guys come on this side. Shake each other's hands. Let each other know you love each other. Yeah, shake each other's hand. Go stand on that. Come on this way. Shake their hands. Yeah, there you go. Just like that. Oh, man, we're learning something every day. Up next, we have the Saskatchewan flag, Marcel Bird. Right, there you go. We got that. And of course, the school flag was done by Richard. Where we got that. Treaty 6 flag, David Charles, elder of Little Red, as well as our traditional knowledge keeper to our medicines. And our Union Jack, Mr. Gilbert Hunt. Our smudge man for our ceremony here today, Mr. Keegan Ermine Valentine. Wow. And my two favorite people who tell me what to do. If all they have to do is just look at me wrong, I will be set straight. Of course, our two chiefs, our women chiefs, our leaders of the Montreal Lake Cree Nation, as well as the Lac La Ronge Indian Band, Mrs. Tammy Cook Searson, and of course, Joyce McLeod. Yeah, come on this way, chiefs. Yeah. Yeah, go that way and then come this way, yeah. Yeah. Our leadership for the Montreal Lake Cree Nation, Councillor Conrad Natawao. Alyssa for Little Red, Halkett. Yeah, come on this way. Jeff Badger for our urban councillors. Come on this way, councillor. Yeah, and our leadership for our Lac La Ronge Band for Little Red sector. And of course, Keith Marasti and John Boy Halkett. At this time, I'm going to hand the mic over to James. He will introduce the rest. And I want to thank you guys all for witnessing a beautiful ceremony. Hey, hey. And I'm Gerald Ballantyne. Tinigi.
Thank you, Gerald. Good morning and welcome to Little Red River School to all our friends, family, and guests. February 13, 2025 marks a significant day for our Little Red River Education Authority as we are here to sign a regional education agreement. Now, there are 5 regional education authorities in Saskatchewan. Little Red River School will be the first to sign a regional education agreement here in Saskatchewan. Make some noise. Before I start it off, I'd like to thank all our staff and everyone that put work in to make this day possible. It's been a really busy week and going into last week. Oh, sorry about that. Sorry, I forgot about the last year, our board members here. Sorry about that. We got Virgil Ermine, one of our board members. I thought Gerald covered all that. He saved some dignitaries for myself. Brenda Mosescapo, Little Red River Education Authority board member. Karen Charles, Little Red River Education Authority board member. Devin McKenzie, Little Red River Education Authority board member. Fred Halkett, Little Red River Education Authority elder. And just honorable mention to our other elder, Vicky Joseph, who did do our opening prayer. Caroline Bear. Little Red River Education Authority board member. Mary Charles. Morasti, Little Red River Education Authority alumni. Gloria McKenzie, also Little Red River Education Authority alumni. Sherry Ann Ballantyne. Did I get that wrong? Oh, I got it wrong. What is it again? Helkit, that's what I was going to go for. Little Red River Education Authority, former board member, alumni. And who do we got back there? Wanda Helkit, Little Red River Education Authority, former board member. These lights are shining mine right in my eye. I'm squinting over there. Who else do we got? Do we have Shirley? I can't see. Huh? Sandra Bighead, Little Red River Education Authority, former alumni. And Gail Helkit, Little Red River Education Authority alumni. Hugh Morasti, Little Red River Education Authority. Also one of our young gun singer, the youngest gun. Misty Glenn Helkit, Little Red River Education Authority, former alumni. And we do have our Indigenous Service of Canada representatives, and we do have Kimberly Weiss. As well as Cherie Moreau. Mark Sanderson, Assistant Deputy Minister. Stephanie O'Brien. Who is our Director of Regional Partnerships Director. And the next name I have on here is Teresa Haddock, Social Policy Researcher. Former Principal, former Director, Darren Solomon. Vice Principal, Rhonda Johnson. And our powwow dancers of Little Red River Reserve. We do have Sierra Cook. We have Mia Bear. Janae Bear. Jordana Lavalle. Oh, Cassie. Cassie Cook. Thought I seen Jordana back there. Shelby Cook. Come on up. Who's that little one there again? What's the next one's name again? Katona Star Blanket. Who's the next little one? Wanda's girl. Madison Drever. Chanel. I didn't want to get that one wrong. So Chanel Halkett, everyone. So these are our Little Red River School dancers. Our dancers can come up here to the front. So once again, last but not least, we do have our Director of Education making this day possible, Dr. Larry Wilkie. Find a seat anywhere. All right, so we'll let guests take their seats and our dignitaries. Before we get into some opening remarks, so I did make some comments about the significant day and why it is so special to Little Red River Reserve. So of course you see all the people up here to make that day possible. And once again, thank you to our staff and community members that came out yesterday. We set up a teepee. Shout out to Julie Natalho. She cut about 3 boxes of fish yesterday. So if you're eating fish today, it is because of her and our land base. They did go out. They set some nets earlier in the earlier weeks. So you could thank the students as well for all their hard work out at Weaquin Lake. So I am going to get into our welcoming remarks. I'm going to call up Vice Principal Rhonda Johnson here to open up the stage. After that, we will get into our guest speakers.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Rhonda Johnson, the Vice Principal of Little Red River School. I just want to start off by saying it's a wonderful day to see you all here. I want to acknowledge that we are on traditional lands of Treaty 6 territory and pay respects to the elders past and present. I would like to extend a warm welcome to Chief Tammy Cook-Searson from Lac La Ronge Indian Band, Councillors John Halkett and Keith Morasti from Lac La Ronge Indian Band, Chief Joyce McLeod from Montreal Cree Nation, and Councillors Alyssa Halkett and Conrad Nadahow from Montreal Lake, as well as Urban Councillor Jeff Badger. Director of Education, Dr. Larry Wilkie from Little Red River School. The Education Authority Board members, Karen Charles, Richard Halkett, Devin McKenzie, Elder Vicky Joseph, Virgil Ermine, Brenda Massescapo, Jasper Bear, and Elder Fred Halkett. I would also like to welcome Mark Sanderson, Teresa Hattrick, Stephanie O'Brien, Kimberly Weiss, and Cherie Moreau from Indigenous Services Canada. And finally, welcome to our community members, our students, and our staff. We are gathered here today to celebrate a significant historic event for our community. Today we will all bear witness to the official signing of a regional education agreement with Indigenous Service Canada. Thank you all for being here, and now I'll pass our mic back to the MC, Mr. James Carrier.
Thank you, Rhonda. Before we do get into our next guest speakers, I want to mark a couple days ago, we did have our 136th anniversary of the Treaty 6 signing adhesion. So that happened 2 days ago. 2 days later, 136 years later, we sign our Little Red River Education Authority agreement with ISC. So, today is a very significant day, whether you know it or not, and we did put a lot into this. So once again, I do thank you for joining us. So I would like to call up Chief Tammy Cook from the Lac La Ronge Indian Band.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you again. Thank you.
Huh? You're dancing your socks?
Good morning. Kita tamaskat na, ito, toti mag. Kami nawa kumagantig. Nanas kumanigan kihte kay mista magwa no sa gisipayag. Kami nanas kumon gapi wisami ako ta Lac La Ronge Indian Band si o tatabi tohtia paskoaski o mutta ya tagita bahtama kamas na ho mutta ya agreement. Igo nigan ka kita tamiskat nawa. Iga hugimahan Montreal Lake si. Igo may no the suite no ako to si Lac La Ronge Indian Band. Councillor John, igo Councillor Keith, igo Montreal Lake si o the suite no aga Lisa. Helkit, igo si Conrad Henderson, that Conrad guy. Igo si Councillor Jeff Badger. Kakito kita tamiskat na ako kihti igo taga kapitohtig. Maga kuesta medidihtin uap magamihtit huutta utai mihtigiwag. Idu mihtit sigawas sago tai mihtigitig. Gomin the Education Authority Board na naskamog so hietos kataho mutta mas nega na noska mas negatig ko eski tapahtaho tan somatisi midabati tanu ego moto sigis na matuiga mig. Gomin na naskamog uta kappaga mahaski huitsig kaniga musta magwaho kita midapadigo akta midamamopia kanos sumutagi kagisipayag. Gomin na naskamog Larry Wilkie, Director of Little Red Education Authority, Sohietos Kagoa, Gomi Nagakito, Kito, Tagapitohti, Gomi Nota, Onimi Hitog, Nimi Thomas Tamagoa, Nanashkamago, Skayak. Good morning, everyone. It's a real honor to be here this morning on behalf of the Lac La Ronge Indian Band. I'm really honored to be here in Little Red River. We call Little Red River Paskoaskik. And I want to thank Jameis, the principal here, for being the MC, and also Gerald for being the MCs today. And this is a really historic event. And I want to thank Elder Vicky Joseph for the opening prayer. I always love hearing her prayers. She's got such a gentle voice, but a gentle, powerful voice with a very powerful message in her prayers. And I'm really honored to be here, and thank you, Chief Joyce, for joining us too here. And thank you, Larry, Dr. Larry Wilkie, for inviting us. Thank you to the Education Authority Board here for welcoming us here and making sure that we're here today. And I want to thank my counselors, John Boy Helkett and also Keith Morasti for being here with us. And I want to thank the counselors from Montreal Lake Cree Nation that are also here, Alyssa Helkett, Councillor Conrad Nadahau. We call him the Conrad guy. Thank him for being here, and also Councillor Jeff Badger. And thank you to all the former board members that are here, the former staff. I'm not sure who got the loudest cheer, whether it was Darren Solomon or Dr. Larry Wilkie. I think it's a tie. So you can tell that they have that connection with the youth here. But I want to thank the parents, the guardians, for waking up their kids to come to school. You know, making sure that they come here. And I want to thank the students for showing up and being here and coming to school. School is so important. Education is so important. And I also want to thank our dignitaries that are here. We have the Deputy Minister of Education, our Indigenous Services, and the Regional Director General. I want to thank them for working with the Education Authority in formalizing this agreement. I want to thank the drummers for the beautiful drums, and all of you for being here, and the beautiful dancers for dancing for us, the traditional dancers. But it's just a real honor to be here today to witness the signing of the Regional Education Agreement. It is a historic moment. There are other First Nations that have signed the agreements in Saskatchewan, but we haven't yet as Lac La Ronge Indian Band. But the Education Authority for Little Red is separate because it's a partnership between Montreal Lake and Lac La Ronge Indian Band. And it's a community. It's the way that our leadership set it up. Kayas, that, to make sure, because we do share one community here with Little Red and Montreal Lake, and we signed the treaty, yes, February 11, 1889, and I know that the school had a celebration that Jameis mentioned, and I'm really honored that you did that yesterday. Not yesterday, but February 11, 1889 was when our treaty was signed. It was Chief William Charles from Montreal Lake Cree Nation, and it was Chief James Roberts that signed on our behalf. And when they signed that treaty, it wasn't taken lightly. Just like this agreement that we're going to sign today, that you're going to sign, it took years of hard work, years of negotiations, years of how is this going to work better than what we have now? How will this benefit today's youth, and how will this benefit into the future? And all those things were taken into consideration. And then will this, and making sure that our treaty and inherent right is protected in the agreement. And that's something that we always make sure that that's in the agreement. So when we signed the treaty in 1889, I think Chief Joyce and I have that deep connection that was formed when the treaty was signed, and even before. It's almost like Lac La Ronge Indian Band, Montreal Lake, and Peter Ballantyne. We have this bond because we're connected by family, we're connected by relations, we're connected by the rivers, the lakes, the bush. We're connected by the lifestyle that we led. And I was thinking, as I drove here this morning in my heated vehicle, I thought about when our chief signed a treaty. They went there by dog team, and it was cold. You think about right now, we're in this minus 40 weather with the winds. They had to get ready. They had to make sure that they had their, everything, their warm clothes, their fur clothes, probably beaded fur hats, and or their buckskin clothes with fur, because fur keeps you warm. And everything had to be was from the land, because there was no stores. And then they had to take their dog teams, get their dog team ready, had to make sure that they had food, matches. They couldn't just warm up anywhere. So we've come a long way, but we also have to always remember where we come from, and be proud of where we come from, because we come from a very strong people, and we have that connection. So I'm really honored to be here today and to witness this signing ceremony, and I'm glad. And I know there's a lot of other speakers, so I'll end off with that. But thank you so much, and congratulations to the Little Red Education Authority for signing the regional education agreement. And my wish is that it all works out for the students here, because it's for their future generations, and they are our future generations. They're our future leaders. They're the ones that are going to be running our communities, running the schools, our offices, everything, being our doctors, our lawyers, or whatever that they want to be. It's up to them. But thank you so much for allowing me to be here in Anashkamon. On behalf of the Lac La Ronge Indian Band, I'm very honored to be here, and thank you so much for the kind invitation, and I can't wait for lunch, because I know it'll be good. Thank you.
Thank you, Tammy, for sharing that unique history that we share here at Little Red River School. It is what makes our reserve here so unique. We don't have just one chief, we have two chiefs, and people often wonder, why do you have that? So thank you for sharing that historical information, because it's like I always do tell our staff, you have to know where you came from in order to know where you're going. They hear that all the time. All right, so I'm going to take this opportunity to call up Chief Joyce McLeod from the Montreal Lake Cree Nation.
Good morning. Hi, Don, for giving me a few minutes to talk. First thing I noticed that you have students out here. There's a very most important setup to have to acknowledge your children. So good job with that, and whoever planned that, it's a good plan, because I am a leaders man si magi. But in this case right now, I said these are the most important people today, to acknowledge your children, your students. I want to acknowledge the Creator, I guess, first for bringing us here safely. To the elders that are here, to the caregivers, to the teachers. I know how it is to be a teacher. You have a lot of patience, and the caregivers. The school board. I want to thank Dr. Larry for inviting us on last Friday to update us what was happening, and for me it was kind of new. And coming from Montreal Lake, we have a committee, but because you guys are a very unique community, because we have both bands. You have L'Orange and you have Montreal Lake, and you have two cultures, the Woodland Cree and also the Plains Cree. You have two languages, the White dialect and the TH dialect. So you're all, it's a combination. So that's why you're so unique. And I want to keep, and every time I come here, I look at the school and how beautiful it is. It's a beautiful school. It's been kept, very well. And I don't know how many years, how many years it's been, but you look at the floor, you look at the setup, you look at everything. It seems today, it seems like it's still a young school. And I don't think it is, but you have to take a lot of pride within your school, with your students, your teachers, and your parents, caregivers, I guess. Just want to acknowledge these little dancers, the drummers, even the drummers, to have the culture. The drummers that are two sets of drummers. It also means our elder, Kai Mr. Magua, always start with a prayer. Doesn't matter where you go, doesn't matter where you are, doesn't matter what you do. It's always that prayer. It's a good way to start. And I want to acknowledge the board here. I met them, had dinner with them. They like Chinese food. I see. And the counselors, my friend Chief Tammy, and we must have been thinking, coming from L'Orange and coming from Prince Albert, and we must have been in the same frame of mind. Knowledge Chief Tammy and her counselors, my counselors from Montreal Cree Nation. I was in Ottawa that time. They celebrated every year. We celebrate our treaty day. For the past 5 years now, I've been celebrating our treaty, the signing of the treaties on April 11. As a matter of fact, it was 5 years ago when we designated February 11 as a holiday. And I know this, because I used to teach in Stanley Mission. They always celebrated James Roberts Day. I used to teach in Deschambault Lake, and they used to celebrate Peter Ballantyne Day. Get to Montreal Lake. How come we don't have a holiday? So about 5 years ago, we started that. We designated February 11 as a holiday, our First Nations holiday. Just to remember, not only to take a day off, but also to keep our children, in the school, to be knowledgeable about our treaties. So every year we have our celebrations. We include everybody, treaty commissioner, the PAGC, FSIN chief, and anybody that can make it. Chief Tam is always there. And we do celebrate. We have, that's a good time to teach our children about the treaties, because the treaties were signed at that time. And we acknowledge all the people that work, that make it possible. You know, this thing doesn't happen like that. There's a lot of people that put their time into it, the teachers, the staff, the administration, and the cooks. My daughter is fortunate to work here, and I hear that she was deboning jackfish all day yesterday. And that's part of our culture, you know, having to make fish and how to teach our young about fishing, about our culture. If I don't want to forget about anybody, so I want to acknowledge each and every one of you that are here. Today, I'm very honored to be signing this REA. Of course, I had to research, because you know, how is it going to affect our education? How many years do we have to sign it, to keep signing it? How often? You know, what are the pros? What are the cons? We have to. Sometimes we don't know, so we have to check with our experts out there, and not only our Kokum Google, but you know, we have to find out. So we have to make sure that that everything works well, because in the end, it's all about our children. It's all about education, and we have to protect our children. We have to protect our treaties, our inherent rights, our treaty right to education. And for me, that's the big one. Kusamaga, hi, Don.
I just want to build on her acknowledgments to our youth and them being up here. It's not just these youth up here. It's all our youth of Little Red River School, Little Red River Reserve. This agreement isn't just about the board, the staff, and ISC. It's about everyone here, right? It takes a community, and today your attendance shows that testament that it is important to you. You do value education. So I just want to give a round of applause for our youth. Who's our next speaker? So our next speaker we will call up is Mr. Mark Sanderson, our Assistant Deputy Minister. Is there a microphone? Oh, yeah. Oh, put it up there. Hi. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Let me put this here. Whoa. Good morning. At least I think it's still morning. My name is Mark Sanderson. I'm something called an Assistant Deputy Minister. I come from Ottawa, the land of the Algonquin people. I'm actually from somewhere a lot even farther away, Southern Ontario. And I want to thank you for the incredibly warm welcome on this auspicious day. I'd like to thank Elder, the drum, the chiefs, all the educators, families, caregivers, the counselors, the leadership, and the entire community, the educators and staff at this beautiful school, and most of all of you, the youth, the students, for being here and for giving such a warm welcome, like I said, on this important, historic, auspicious day. So thank you very much. Why am I here? I'm here to sign this regional education agreement, which, as the chiefs have said so eloquently, is another important moment, milestone in the incredible history of your community, of Treaty 6, and we heard how we just celebrated the anniversary. It's going to continue the incredible vision and work of the chiefs and leaders of your community for more than 30 years, establishing the Little Red River Education Authority, and in our small way, the Government of Canada wants to continue and demonstrate its commitment to continuing to support your vision for education, for your community, for all the youth here today and the youth still to come. I don't want to take too much time, but I want to say thank you again for being here and for such a warm welcome and for honoring myself, me, our team from Ottawa, Regina, and of course on behalf of our minister, for letting us be part of this important day and continuing your commitment, your generous commitment to the relationship with Canada. So thank you very much, and in my own language, Niawe. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. We're going to call up our Director of Education, Dr. Larry Wilkie.
Good morning, everyone. I'm not a good speaker without notes, so just bear with me. But I want to thank the elder for the prayer, the drummers, the dancers, the flag carriers, and Gerald for the beginning of the day. The Board of Directors acknowledge that we are in Treaty 6 territory, and the adhesion to Treaty 6 was signed, as has been mentioned, on the February 11th, 1889. So we're just 2 days off from that historic agreement for the signing of the Regional Education Agreement. And the Board of Directors welcomes everyone to this historic event. And this Regional Education Agreement, we've been working on it since 2018 was our first meeting. So it's taken a while. And the agreement has clauses in it that are related to the advancement of local control of education for that. So we've gone through this repeatedly over and over again. There have been different templates for the agreement. I remember I worked on template number 1. I sent it in, and the response was, well, that's not in this template. So it changed, and and so on. But this is where we are today. Although there have been changes, the general intent is still there. And when we saw the first template many years ago, there were a lot of very positive changes in the template for us. And at one time, the education funding was very, very low. I mean, we'll all admit that. And the needs of the students were not met. We couldn't really meet them. The schools were open. We did our best. We did our best with what we had. As things stand today, on February the 13th, 2025, and I'm not sure if I should say this when ISC is present, but our funding is adequate today. It has increased drastically. So we want to thank you for that. But that's not saying the funding will be enough tomorrow for that. And that's part of the reason for the signing of the Regional Education Agreement. I've been around for a few years. I think this is I've passed my 5th decade, and I'm going into towards my 6th in education. And when the Regional Education Agreement, when that first came out from ISC, there were 2 parts to it. Regional Education Authority, which Little Red already was, and the Regional Education Agreement, which was more focused on funding rather than governance for that. And we still, although the two have merged somewhat, we still hold to the concept of the Regional Education Agreement, which is based on funding, and that's where we will eventually go. So this agreement itself has no effect upon the governance of the Little Red River Education Authority. So we've just completed the one step to the fulfillment of the treaty right to education. And the treaty right to education, I'll just talk about a couple of the treaties for that. The numbered treaties, not about those in Eastern Canada or elsewhere, but just the numbered treaties which are in the Prairie Provinces and in Western Ontario. Education was always a part of the treaties. Wording changed from one treaty to another, but education was always a part. So the chiefs and the people who were negotiating the treaty, they knew the importance of education, and it was put into the treaties. So through oral tradition and also through the notes of the negotiators at the time, we're aware that education was something which was very, very important to the people. And as I said, I won't read through all of the treaties, but we're in Treaty Number 6 territory. And Treaty Number 6 and Treaty Number 5 actually have the same wording. And it says, Her Majesty agrees to maintain schools for instruction in such reserves hereby made as to her government of the Dominion of Canada may seem advisable whenever the Indians of the reserve shall desire it. So that's the wording, the education clause. And also Treaty 1 and Treaty 2, which is Western Ontario, and I think it might go into Eastern Manitoba, states Her Majesty agrees to maintain a school on each reserve hereby made whenever the Indians of the reserve should desire it. So when I read those clauses, there is a treaty right to education. It's very, very clearly stated. And those clauses also tell me that the First Nations, the bands, are really in control of that, because it says when the people shall desire it. And that's a very, very key part of that. And when the treaties were signed in the 1800s, 1874, 1876, adhesion 1889, and so on, the treaties with the education clause provided for a state-of-the-art education. And education was not a right for the people in the Northwest Territories. It was a privilege. Through the negotiations and the foresight of those who negotiated the treaty, it became a right for First Nations, not a privilege. It was their right to an education. The other people within the territories, it was a privilege for that. And the board of directors, and I know the chiefs as well, always support education, and we're here, the chiefs are here, the board's here, not just for the education that we have, but for a state-of-the-art education. And the Regional Education Agreement will be looking for that, working towards that. And we are anchored in the past. There is a past, and we know that. And we also have to look for the future. And the future is what the REA, the Regional Education Agreement, is to accomplish. As I said, I've been around for quite a while. I've been in First Nations education for a long time. And previously, many, many years ago, our relationship with ISC or DIAND or INAC, whatever it was called, it wasn't always positive. It was, sometimes very adversarial for that. But I can honestly say today, and for the past, I would say, 7 or 8 years, that things have changed drastically. Not a little bit, but there's a very, very positive change. And working with the ISC people in Regina, and I'm just being introduced to some ISC people from across the country. But when we discuss, we don't always have to agree for that, but it's the children are important. It's what's best for the kids, and we recognize that there are guidelines and so on and so forth. Whether we agree with those guidelines is another story, and something that we will work at. So I want to thank the changes, ISC, for the changes that have taken place over the past 7 years, 8 years for that. As I said, funding is adequate, but it's going to have to increase in the future. But it's through this type of cooperation that we can move forward. And the treaty right to education, as I mentioned, it's in the treaties, it's in the clauses of the treaties. Indian Affairs, or ISC, has a fiduciary obligation to fund for that. And with education, it's a partnership. It's not one-sided, it's a partnership. And the desire for education, the direction for education, as referenced in the treaties, comes from the First Nations. Then that has to be put into action, into a plan, and then we can negotiate for the funding that is necessary. One thing to remember is where we're at right now is we talk about provincial comparability in funding, something that we have to be conscious of is at a Little Red and all of the other First Nations, we are not provincial schools. We are not provincial responsibility. We are a First Nation school, and the First Nation schools have needs that are different from those of the provinces. And so that's something that we will be working on over the next 5 years, because the agreement is a 5-year agreement to address some of those issues. That Little Red, and I'm just speaking for Little Red, is a First Nation school that has needs that are different from the schools in Prince Albert, which is our proxy. And that's something that has to be addressed for that. I was reading James Youngblood Henderson, who was a lawyer, a First Nations lawyer, and he wrote to put this in this treaty right to education in the appropriate context. In the 1870s and 1880s, a schoolhouse on every reserve represented the state of art in education systems in the Northwest Territories. There were at that time but a handful of schools in the territories and no university. So as I already mentioned, education was a privilege for the others. It was a right for the First Nations people. And this agreement is a historical agreement for Little Red. And as I said, working with ISC, we don't discuss, we have dialogue. The word dialogue is an exchange of ideas. Discussion comes from the word percussion. You know, when you hit a drum, it's loud and noisy, and so on. And that has changed, and we hope that it will continue. With the education, regional education agreement, I'm not going to reference every article that's in there because I would totally bore everybody, but I want to pick out just a couple of sections that are of particular interest. The one that says, you know, and we're talking about the treaty right and protecting the treaty right to education, and I think that this agreement does that. And it says the parties acknowledge that the Little Red River Education Authority will enter into future discussions with Canada on the following matters suggested by the board of directors of the LREA. And these matters: support for lifelong learning, including but not limited to early childhood and adult education, high school upgrading, and land-based teaching. So that's referenced in the agreement. Funding for school infrastructure and capital projects, including but not limited to full-time nursery, kindergarten facilities, and outreach operated buildings. So there's the issue of capital, and capital is always an issue. Supports for student transportation, supports for enhanced student safety, and supports for mental health and wellness, including support to address substance abuse, trauma, and poverty issues. So those are written into the agreement. There's also, in the definitions, it mentions that the Little Red River Education Authority, we have to hire provincially certified teachers or First Nations certified teachers. That's in the agreement. So we can work on certifying our own teachers. Again, that would be up to grade 9 because of the credits at the provincial level. But that is something that I have never seen in an agreement before. And these few areas, I think, illustrate the fact that the authority is protecting the treaty right to education, because these are in there. And the section that I read about the different areas, it says the Little Red River Education Authority will enter into an agreement. It doesn't say it may, but we will enter into future discussions. It's something that's going to happen, and that has been written into the agreement. Before I go into my closing remarks, I just want to thank the elders, thank Vicki for the prayer. I want to thank the community, everybody who came out today. I want to acknowledge and thank the chiefs and the councils for their support, past and present. The students, that's why we're here. The staff, those individuals who in the 1990s had the vision and pushed for their vision for the school and for the control of the school. I want to thank the board of directors, again, past and present. This has been something ongoing since 2018. I think I might have started the first version in end of 17, or it could have been early 18. I can't remember that part. But I want to thank everybody there. I want to thank Verna Ballantyne for organizing the dance crew. Thanks to Farron Bighead and Verna for working with the graduating class who are going to be serving our dinner. Thanks to Jennifer O'Mani, Keisha Helcott, Jody McKenzie, and the whole kitchen crew. I'm not sure how many people are there right now. And special thanks to Hume Marasti. He has provided a lot of advice. He gave us the directions for the grand entry. To me, Hume is a mentor and a teacher. I learn a lot from Hume. I want to thank Rhonda Johnson for welcoming everybody. And a special thanks to James Carrier. He has done so much work. I can say so much so many times, but he has done just a lot of work in the background to make today a successful day. So James, I want to thank you for that, and I hope I didn't miss anyone. If I do, I apologize for that. And just in closing, and this is on a personal note as well as an education, I want to thank a special group of whom I call educators, and they often don't get recognition, although they did today. But it's a group that has a lot of influence over us, and it's a group of educators that can teach us for that. It's a group of educators that I have learned from over my 50 plus years in education. and a group that I will learn from in the future. And I call this a group of educators because they will teach us if we keep our eyes and ears open, if we keep our minds open, and if we keep our hearts open to them. And that group of educators is the students. Quite often, the youth and the children. Quite often, we say we are the teachers to the youth, but they are also teachers to us. And that's something that I have learned from the young people over the years for that. The youth, the children, the students, they've taught me that before I speak through my mind, I have to think and speak through my heart. That comes from the young people. What's processed in the heart and in the mind is then spoken for that. So to the children, the youth, and the students, I thank you. You are also our teachers. We're not just your teachers for that. So that's all I have. That's why we're here today. Ego sing. Thank you.
Alrighty, so we are getting close, a little bit closer to lunchtime. I know everyone is hungry, but we do have a couple of items to take care of. So we are going to get into our signing ceremony, which will then be followed by our victory song and retiring of the flags. And so once we do that, we'll do a closing prayer to go along with the blessing of the food. And so I'll say my closing speech now then, because this will conclude this portion of the ceremony. We do have a youth dance that will go on, so once everyone is done eating, we'll ask you to clear the gym so then we can set up for the youth to have some entertainment for themselves. So today we are honored to invite all in attendance to join us for a celebratory meal following the signing of the REA. This event is a significant milestone in our shared commitment to enhancing educational opportunities for all students. We believe that your presence greatly enriches the occasion and helps strengthen our collaborative efforts. The celebratory meal will take place following the victory song and prayers to close and bless the food. So as principal of Little Red River School, I thank you for joining us here on this historical day and celebrating this achievement with us as a community. Thank you, and safe travels. So we will ask our Indigenous Service representatives and our Little Red River Education Board of Directors to come on up along with Larry Wilkie, Dr. Larry Wilkie. Hold on. So on the documents we have all board members, I believe, and I know Mark's on there for sure. Yeah, you guys can go on this side and then we can get a live stream. And then we got a picture here. We're going to go on that side? Yeah. The other side? Yeah, you guys can sign all right. Right now? You guys want to come right here? Stand on the sides right here so when they take a picture, you guys are up here in the picture as well. Maybe we should get the Chiefs up here too? After we sign over there. So following the signing of the REA, we will get, we have an exchange of gifts. So can we get an honor song from our drummers, please? Young Guns, take it away.
Is the food almost done? Yeah, it's coming.
Regional Education Agreement is now signed by all officials. Let's get a round of applause. We will exchange some gifts on behalf of the Little Red River Education Authority, and I do see that Indigenous Service Canada does have some gifts there for exchange as well. I think before we do that, we're going to get a photo op here. Okay. Oh. We will ask all our community members to line up and come shake our officials' hands and our dignitaries, please and thank you.
Dance for that song? Are we really gonna dance? I'm the wrong person on this. Wait, we dance on this one?
What's that?
We dance on
Yeah,
this
you just can dance if you want. Stand right here and just dance for everyone. Second start. back there. There might be some on that table. Dance, girls. You guys can dance right now.
Testing. All right, you guys, we are live here with IOPS, and you're watching Little Red River signing the ISC Regional Education Agreement here, live in Treaty 6 territory. Another historic moment here happening, the First Nations in Saskatchewan. I want to thank you again for tuning in here. Another awesome live brought to you by IOPS, Empowering Indigenous Success.
Check one. All right, flag carriers, please stand by. Eagle staff carriers. We got to properly put down our Eagle staff and our flags. Yeah. Darius, Keegan, get your flag carriers ready if they're available. And we'll shut down in a proper way as we dance out our Eagle staff and the singers, their acknowledgement to the praying songs that they've brought us here today. It's good songs, boys. Good job. Young Guns. Hey, I finally got their names out. I thought because they had a different name at one time, so I wasn't sure what to call them. Young Napios. Yeah. All right, Eagle staff and flag carriers, come and grab your flag. Grab your same flag. We're going to need you to come and line up. Just grab them for now. All Eagle staff carriers. Yeah, drummers are ready. These. Are we going to allow these dancers to dance after a bit? Awesome. Yeah. Dancers, stand by during dinner. You're going to be putting on a display as to your footwork for your respected regalias that you hold. I know we have women's traditional fancy and jingle. You'll be getting 2 starts each by Young Guns right after we right after we eat. Yeah. And don't forget servers, because the singers are here, put some food aside for the singers. Okay. All dignitaries, please stand by to dance out our Eagle staff and our flags. Good job, you guys. Wow, look at our new school podium. Looks so nice. Okay, Eagle staff carriers, come on this way. Come and grab your flag. Our vice chief, come and grab your Eagle staff. And we'll line up Eagle staff. Darius, you'll stand right at this black line here, and everybody else behind you, and you'll take them straight out. Okay? It'll be short and sweet, just like me. Well, I don't know about the sweet part, but my wife will say different. She'll say, real ugly. All right. Good job. All right there, Eagle staff carriers, grab your flags. Let's get started over here. Come and stand behind Darius. He'll be facing the main door, and everybody else behind him. Right there, yeah. Face that way. IHOPs? Yeah. Oh, yeah, we're on live. We just go straight out. Yeah. Oh, IOPS. We're on live. That is awesome. Hi. Yeah, just I'll let you know when to go. Take your time, dance it out the way you're supposed to. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know who. The Treaty 6 adhesion flag. You're here, come and grab your flag. If not, can we get a volunteer to come and hold this flag and take it out? We'll get my brother John. John, come and grab this. Okay, we'll get all dignitaries and dancers on this side. Come on this side, yeah. All our visitors. And then we'll go, okay, face that way. Flag carriers, we'll go three per line. Flag carriers, 3 per line. So get behind them. Line them up, 3 per line. Yeah, go ahead, line them up. Keegan, go and see them. Yeah, there you go. Line them up. 3 per line there, gentlemen. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3. Face this way, boys. You gotta face this way. Face the door. Yeah, there you go. And John, you'll be right there. John, stand there right behind him. You're good. All right. Oh, boys suck, wanna go? Let's take them out. Hold up there, boys. Yeah. Let us all rise as we put down our color guard for our communities of the Lac La Ronge Indian Band and Montreal Lake Cree Nation. Our Treaty 6 territory and our Eagle staff that represents our people of Pasquawskik and Little Red River Reserve 106B, C, and D. Aho. All right, boys, let's take them out. And it's gonna go something like this, nice and slow. We'll get 2 people to hold the doors open for them. Nice and slow, yeah. And we'll get a couple of boys in there to go help out collect the flags. Thank you, dancer. And of course, thank you, singer. All right, let's give a hi hi. All right, thank you very much. Hi hi.
Alrighty, I think we're gonna get Fred to bless the food.